Let us continue. So initially, as I told, there are two different kind of supervised learning algorithm present: classification and the regression. Okay. So in case of classification, in case of regression, we have seen when output variable is continuous, there is no any fixed category present. Okay, when output variable is continuous, so that time we'll be making use of regression. But when output variable is continuous, categorical, that time we'll be making use of the second method, which is called as the classification. Now see, what is classification? Classification is a process of categorizing a given data into classes. It can be performed on both structured or unstructured data. The process starts with predicting the class of given data points. The classes are often referred to as target, label, or categories. Target with output variable, class, that you can predict. Okay, so the classification predictive modeling is a task of approximating the mapping function from input variable to discrete output variables. See, the relationship between input and output can be modeled, but for this case, the output variable is categorical. We have the categories present in it. So that time we'll be applying the classification kind of algorithm. So main goal is to identify which class or category the new data will fall into. Which class or category it is having that we are going to find. Let us see this example. Okay. For example, I'm having a data or I have received a mail and I want to categorize it either spam or not spam. So output variable categorical. We are not finding any condition values out of it. We are having a category spam or not spam. So when we are having such kind of problem with us, so we'll be applying the classification kind of algorithms over there. Okay, so just like hard disk detection, we'll see this data set itself for the first example. Hard disk detection, it can be identified as a classification problem. This is a binary classification that is having two classes: is having hard disks or does not have the hard disks. Like, okay, so in classifier in this case, need training data to understand how the input variables are related to the class. And once the classifier is trained accurately, it can be used to detect whether the hard disk is present or not present. Correct. So it's a classification, the task of supervised learning. We have to provide input and output variables both to the data set. So in classification, there are some basic terminologies present, like classifier. Classifier is an algorithm which is used as the input. We used to map the input to the data of specific category. It is called as a classifier. And classification model, the model that we have seen, just regression model we have seen. Now classification model predicts or draws a conclusion to the input data given for training. It will predict the class or category of the respective data. It's called as classification model. Feature. Feature is an individual measurable property of the phenomenon being observed. That is your input variables. They are called as features. And label is your output variable. That is what your target is present. Okay, input or output variable that we have. There are four different kind of classification algorithms are present in the machine learning, in statistical learning also. Binary classification, multi-class classification, multi-label classification, and imbalanced classification. Okay, let us see that what kind of classification will be more. So basically, in when you see the linearity in the data, okay, linearity in the data, in the model is present. They are finding the linearity. So there are some methods present. There are four actual algorithms are the linear model, like logistic regression, linear discriminant analysis, support vector machine linear, and the perceptron learning algorithm. These four models are coming under linearities. They are finding the linearity between input and output, and based on that they used to do the predictions of new data and their class and categories. Non-linear models. There are many machine learning algorithms are present. They don't follow the linearity in building the model, just like k-nearest neighbor, support vector machine, new base, decision tree, random forest. We are having decision tree as the last session that also we'll talk about. So in linear, we are having two, logistic regression and LDA. And in non-linear, we have decision tree algorithm that will see step by step. See, the first method is called as binary classification. Okay, so name suggests the meaning of it. Binary classification refers to those classification tasks that have two class labels. For example, the email is spam or not. Fine. Or churn predictions. Customer will retain or not. That's called as customer churn. Or conversion prediction. Like they will purchase or not. That you have to find. So typically, binary classification task involves two states, normal and abnormal. Okay, normal state, abnormal state. Yes, buy is normal state, will not buy is abnormal state. Spam is abnormal state, not spam is normal state. Like that, the states are mentioned there. See this. For example, not spam is the normal state and spam is the abnormal state. Another example, the cancer not detected is the normal state and the task involves medical test and cancer detected is the abnormal state. Fine, we got as positive, negative, something like that. Okay, in general machine learning data set, the class of normal state is assigned the class 0 and the class with the abnormal state assigned the class 1, label 1. Okay, so it's common to model a binary classification task with a model that predicts the Bernoulli probability distribution for each example there. These are popular binary classification tasks. Okay, we'll be using all task binary to that they'll be easy to understand. Logistic regression, KNN, decision tree, support vector machine, NeoBase, they are used for that. Now, so these are the classification algorithm. Now, how do we evaluate it? See, in the regression we have seen R squared error. R squared error shows us the accuracy of this particular model, how accurate a model is particularly functioning. That is what's shown by the R squared error in the regression. But what about the classification? How do we find the particular model is perfectly working or not? Okay, evaluation. So there are many metrics which can be used to measure the performance of a classifier or a predictor. Okay, so different field have different preferences for specific metrics due to the different goals that we have. So generally we are having sensitivity, specificity present, and there is a method called as the confusion matrix, which is used for checking the accuracy of classification. So all the algorithms that we are going to see now onwards, three algorithms are there. They will be evaluated with the help of a concept called as confusion matrix. Maybe in machine learning subject you have heard about this name. But how do we use the confusion matrix to evaluate the binary classification systems? Okay, so in the field of machine learning, specifically the problem statistical classification, confusion matrix, which is also known as the error matrix, is a specific table layout. It's like a contingency table that allows visualization of performance of an algorithm, typically a supervised learning one. Okay, each row of the matrix represents instances in the predicted class, and each column represents the instances in the actual class, or inverse is there. Let's see the example. Okay, how do we evaluate the performance of the classification systems? See, I have created a classifier which is used to classify the image into dog or cat. It will identify whether that image belongs to dog or cat. And I want to check the evaluation of it. So I'll be applying 13 pictures as input to the respective model. So given a sample of 13 pictures, 8 cats and 5 dogs I'll be providing as input to check the accuracy. So I'll be containing dog as 0 and cat as 1. Okay, dog as 0 and cat as 1, like this. So 13 pictures I have given, for example, as input to the classification model there. So first 8 are cats, all they are treated as 1, 8 cats are given, and dogs class number is 0. The remaining 5 are class 0. Okay, they are given as input. So assume that the classifier that distinguishes between the cat and dog is trained, and we take 13 pictures and run them through the classifier. The classifier makes 8 accurate predictions and misses 5. See, input is 1, but algorithm predicted 0. Here input 1, 0, 1, 0, but for remaining 5, 1, output predicted 1, means out of 8 cat, 3 predictions are wrong. Algorithm predicted 3 wrong. Okay, and 5 are correct. And for this 5, algorithm predicted 2 wrong and 3 are correct. Okay, out of 5, these 3 are correct and these 2 are wrong. It means that out of 13, 5 are wrong classification done by the classification model there. 5 classifications are wrong. Correct. So 8 out of 13, okay, 8 divided by 13 into 100 is the accuracy of your model. It's how many predictions are correct. What's the percentage of predictions are correct? That confusion matrix will show you. Fine. Confusion matrix will show you. See this. Will be shown like that. So out of 8, 5 predictions are correct. And here out of 5, 3 predictions are correct. Like in this way, this is the confusion matrix. So here on class side, we have actual classes, and here we have the predicted classes. Actual class and the predicted class. Fine. So actual class, in actual data set, 5 plus 3, 8 cats were there. Out of it, 5 cats are matching with cat. And 3 are considered as dog. Means actually input is cat, but predicted as dog. Maybe possible. This is an example, make sure. Okay, now for actual class here, for dog, 5 dogs were there. Out of it, 3 dogs predicted as dog, and 2 dogs predicted as cat. Find this. Getting. This is a confusion matrix, and for all the example now on what we are going to see, this confusion matrix to check the accuracy of classification models. Fine. Confusion matrix. And same case is there for another kind of classifications also. Okay. And that is the second method we call as the multi-class classification system. Okay. So in multi-class classification refers to those classification tasks that have more than 2 class labels. Like abnormal, normal is not there. Face classification. So I am given hundreds of faces. I have to classify whose face is that. Okay. First faces of whom, second, third, fourth, fifth, like all. Multi-class classification, that is face classification is. Second is planned spaces classification. So n number of spaces are there. You have to calculate, you can convert or you can predict n number of spaces are there. Or OCR, optical character recognition, OCR. 26 characters are there. Or we can say 127 characters are there present in the English. So you are going to predict in that, you have to predict which character is written on the paper. That is what multi-class classification is. So unlike binary classification, multi-class classification does not have the notion of normal and abnormal outcome. Instead, examples are classified belonging to one among the range of known classes. Okay, known classes. That is what multi-class classification is. Remember, and there are some algorithms which are used for binary. Maybe they are used for multi-class also. Logistic is pure binary classification, binomial logistic. We can. Okay, the popular algorithms which are used in this criteria are KNN, decision tree, new Bayes, random forest, gradient boosting, like all. They are used. Okay. And the third category of algorithm classification is multi-label classification. So multi-label classification refers to the class which is having 2 or more class labels. Output variable is multiple in a single instance. So where one or more class labels may be predicted for each example. Consider the example of photo classification where a given photo may have multiple objects in the scene and a model may predict the presence of multiple known objects. Like a photo is containing bicycle, apple, person. So 3 things are predicted from the photo. Like that is called as multi-label classification. So we are having multiple label outcome from the same data. And the fourth one is called as imbalance classification. Imbalance. See, whenever you are building the model, you should have the balance of both the classes or all the classes equally to build the model. When equality is not there, it is called as imbalance classification. When equality is not present in that case. So typically imbalance classification tasks are the binary classification tasks where majority of examples in the training data set belong to the normal class and a minority of examples belonging to the abnormal class. See, example that you can see here, fraud detection, outlier detection, medical diagnosis test, etc. Okay, fraud. So I want to detect the fraud, but I need to apply the previous data as input here. Remember, frauds are not taken 50% time. They are not 50% frauds are not there. Frauds are very rarely happen. 0.5 to 1% frauds are there. So when you are using this data, so it's a complete imbalance of the data is present to train the machine learning model. That's why it is called as imbalance classification. So there are many methods used by which you balance the data. Like there's a technique called as resampling, which are used to resample the data with equal number of classes, or we can use some algorithm called as cost sensitive machine learning. Okay. Cost sensitive machine learning algorithms are there which can be used like logistic regression, decision trees, support vector machine. These are the cost sensitive algorithm which can be applied on the imbalanced data classifications. Fine. That is what the concept of classification is. And let us see the example. Three examples of classification algorithm we have. We'll see how exactly the algorithm works, is what technique that they follows to build the classifier, that we will see first, and after it we'll see a practical example of the respective algorithm there. So we are having two classification algorithms which are based on the linearity. The first is logistic regression, second is linear discriminant analysis, and the third is the decision tree, which is the part of the last section there. See, logistic regression. So let us see. This is what logistic regression is present over here. Let's talk about it. Yes, what is logistic regression? Logistic regression is the appropriate regression analysis to conduct when the dependent variable is dichotomous. That is binary. When your outcome variable is binary, that time we can apply the logistic regression. So, like all regression analysis, logistic regression is also a predictive analytics. This method is used to describe the data and to explain the relationship between one dependent binary variable and one or more nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio independent variable as input. Remember. So when an output is categorical, you have to generate or predict the category of the data. We'll be making use of the logistic regression. So remember, though the name of algorithm carries the regression name, it is used for the classification, that is category generation over this. There are n number of some algorithms present, out of it the first common and very basic logistic regression algorithm is binary, that is binomial we call. So when the categorical variable or response variable is having two possible outcomes, spam or not spam, we will be making use of the binomial logistic regression. Second is multinomial, when output are having n number of categories, more than two categories are there. That case, so veg, non-veg, vegan, three possible outcomes are there. Or ordinal, when you have the order, okay, one, three or more categories or ordering is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ordinal is used in such cases. This is what logistic regression. But now, how exactly the algorithm works? Now see, what do we know? We know linear regression, like in this way. That's what we have seen. Experience and salary. Then model prediction also we have done. Just in the previous example there, linear regression. So when we have the y is equal to b0 plus b1x, for example, where b0 is the y-intercept, b1 is the slope. And in multiple also we have talked about it. Okay, now this will work effectively when we have the output variable linear and continuous. Okay, when we have the output variable is linear and continuous, both that we need to know, we need to remember. Now, what if the output variable is not continuous? So let's take an example. A company, for example, has provided an offer by email to their customers. Okay, so my input variable, for example, for this situation is age, and output variable whether the customer has received the email or not. Received the email or not. So 0 have received the email and 1 has not received the email. So like that, I have plotted this data. For x-axis, I am having age, and y-axis, I am having action, 0 and 1. So these people, employees, sorry, customers, have not received the email. This one. And these are received the email. They are shown over here. Received, not received. Now I want to build a model to predict the customer will receive the email in future or not. Customer will receive the email in future or not. So what I require? I require to apply the input to it. What is that? Age. That I need to apply. And by applying the age as input, I want to predict whether the customer will receive the email or not. So can I apply linear regression? Yes. So we'll create the model something like that. As we have seen in the previous example also, in linear regression, we have seen this. So a line is plotted at the center. But remember, how much accurate is that? It will predict the data in the format like 0 0.2, 0 0.5, 0 0.3. I want the data to be dichotomous, that is binary, 0 and 1 predictions of the data. And you can observe that all the data lies in this range only. Here on this point and here on this point. What about the others? This one and the data is in between that. Above that, below that, and between that, nothing is present. Exactly on this cross, the data is predicted. Means exactly here we have 1, exactly here we have 0. What about these lines, which are shown here? So they don't carry any meaning over there. So we can just cut it like that. So when I'm predicting the data, above 1, it will be considered as 1. If I'm predicting the data below 0, it is considered as 0. So I've cut this point. So if I'm predicting output below 0, it will be considered as 0. Negative value all will be 0. And above 1 will be 1. What about this particular part? So we'll make it as a curve. How to? So this is my linear equation. I will apply a sigmoid function there. See, sigmoid function, maybe if you have heard somewhere in mathematics or statistics. This is a sigmoid function. P is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e raised to minus y. Okay, see this. Fine. This is called as the sigmoid function. Okay, the sigmoid function that we have applied over here. And when you apply the sigmoid function, okay, when you apply the sigmoid function, the model will be transformed into, so natural logarithm, this is p value to use, natural logarithm of p divided by 1 minus p is equal to your line. So when you add this formula, your line will be like this. Line, this one, will be converted into this format, in this way. Just like line we have seen in linear regression, it's okay. But now model will be like this. Now, how can I use this model for predictions of the classes? The data should be in the class format, should be predicted in the class format. How it is done? So let's consider x as input here, okay, and y is the output, which is actual or dependent variable present. Fine, and this is my model. Okay, by applying it, we consider the output variable is the probability. Now, how predictions are done? Model is created. We'll be building that curve, S curve, sigmoid curve, we call it as. And I want to do the predictions now. So on output variable, we consider the probability. We consider the probability. See this. P hat. The probability. And I want to do the prediction now. New values I'm providing. Age is 20, 30, 40, 50. So what is my possible outcome? What can I get? I'll get 0 or 1. Or can I receive email or not? That you have to predict. Now, how the predictions are done? Predictions are done on the probability of happening. How? Let us see. For them, we'll project them over on this line. We'll project just 20 on this curve, 30 on the curve, 40 on the curve, 50 on the curve. And if you see this, when it's project 20 on the curve, it is from the point 0.7% distance, at the 0.7% distance from the start. From 30, it is 23% distance. From 40, it is at 85% distance. And 50, it is at 99.4% distance. When you project this point, input point onto the curve, that time, it has happened. Fine. Now, what is the class then? Generally, logistic regression provides us the probability of happening. What is the probability? So, from 0.7, 23, 85, 99.4, whatever probability I get, you have to convert this probability into the class format. What's the criteria you have to apply? Okay, so when we are in binomial regression, logistic regression, we are basically using the concept of 50%, not a binomial, everywhere 50% is there. 50% means if probability is above 50%, second class will be predicted. If probability is below 50%, the first class will be predicted. How? Let us see this. So for 20 and 30, class 0 will be predicted, and for 30 and 40, which are there above the 50% probability, their class will be 1. Their class will be predicted as 1 there. Fine. This is what the outcome or output variable, categorical output variable is predicted there. And logistic regression, binomial logistic regression is one of the best algorithm of linearity to do the predictive analytics, predictive modeling on the data, which is linearly present in the data set. That's what the logistic regression does for us. And output, first two are 0 and second two are 1. This is what we call as the classification modeling. So logistic regression is a special case of linear regression by which you are going to do the predictions in the form of a class. That we do there. So what are the advantages using this algorithm? It performs well when the data is linearly separable and it's less prone to overfitting. Overfitting means like there are the concepts about training and testing. We'll talk about that time also. And many such advantages are possible. But let's do the practical of it by using the R programming language. And for this purpose, I'll be using a data set here by which you can build the model. And once the model is built, we will use this model to do the prediction analytics. So there is a data set I am having with me. It is called as heart disease prediction. So the people who are having heart disease or not having heart disease, both. So both of their data is stored in a file. Okay, there's a file which is containing the features of people who may have or they are not having the heart disease. Okay, and then you have to build a model. This model will be used on you to check that whether you are having heart disease or not. That's what the power of machine learning is. Let us see that. The data set is something like this. See this. See. Okay. Age, sex, CP, test BPS, maybe blood pressure is there, cholesterol, FPS, rest ECG, TALAC, extent. I don't know actually meaning of them, but these are the general measurement of your human body, human heart or body also. They are measured and stored over there. Here we can see the target is output variable, means the data is taken for some n number of people. I think how many are there? 305. Sorry, 303 are there. One extra column is row is present there. And for all of these people, they are having heart disease and few are not. So those who are having heart disease, they are written 1. Heart disease is present. And those who don't have heart disease, they are written as 0 from here. Okay. hard disk is present or not present. That's mentioned in this. Like we call as a binary classification task is this. Now, and all are the features. It's not compulsory only one feature should be present. We can have n number of features. For simplification, I have given the example in one feature only. But in practical, we have n number of features there, and logistic regression can build it. We generate the data into prediction probability format. What's the probability that you'll be having the heart disease or not? That we have to make use of. Now I'll use this data. I'll build the model. I'll build the model of machine learning, logistic regression, and then it will predict when a new person is there, whether that person is having heart disease or not. Correct. So see the data set, I need to read that, and then I'll build a model of logistic regression to do the prediction analytics on that. So let us go and read this data and build the model of it. So I'll open my RStudio again. Yes. Let's create a new file and save it first. Okay. Now the data set which I have shown to you, I need to read that data set first to perform the operations. Let us see that data is equal to read dot csv dot csv. Okay. Let's try printing it on the screen. Data is right. Let me, I don't require the graphics now. This is your data. All the data. That's what we have read over here. Fine. And we know what is your output variable present there. Our output variable is target. Output variable is target. Okay. So basically, I need to build the model. So basically, when you build the model, you have to separate the data in input and output fashion, just like in linear regression we have seen. But one concept is there called as the cross validation. We have seen the concept of confusion matrix. Now see, from this data itself, okay, from this data itself, you see how many, what's the dimension of it is. Oh. Yeah. 303 rows and 14 columns are there. 303 rows and 14 columns we are having here in this data set. Fine, 303 and combination of all data is there. So what I'll do, I will use only few amount of data, like 75% data in training and 25% data in testing. Training means I will use that data to build the model, and few data I will keep aside. Few data I will keep aside. Correct. And the data, why I'm keeping aside, when the model is built, then I will apply new data, just like confusion matrix we have seen. 13 features we are given afterwards. Their output is, it was known to us already, but we just have to check, just want to check that this algorithm is predicting the result in the expected fashion or not. The expected result is there or not. Okay, algorithm will predict some result. We are having one data with us, that's called as test data. We are applying to check the result, and once it has predicted, then we will check the expected outcome and predicted outcome together, and then we'll see the confusion matrix. We'll check the accuracy of the respective model over here. Total 304 entries are there. Now we have to partition. So to partition that, there is a package present, and that package, or there is a library that we need to install and we have to use, and that library is called as Caret. So it's just like importing the library inside the R. Library is a function which is used to import the library inside the R program, and there is a function which we use called as create data partition. Create data partition on the basis of what? On the basis of target that will be creating. So let us create a data partition here. IND, for example, is equal to create data partition. Create data partition. Okay, this function we are using. It contains three parameters. First parameter that you have to pass is the data, and we have to use the target, that is outcome variable, comma, how much percentage of data you have to keep in the training set. Yes, training set that you have to mention. That is 75% will be keeping, and you have to use the list or not. We'll make it false. IND is created. And using this IND, so IND is used to randomize the data. It will create a randomization of it. And randomized 75% entries will be kept into IND. Okay. So from that data, I'll use 75% entries into the training data. Let us see that train is equal to data of IND, comma. Okay. 75% entries will keep that in it. You will see this one, dimension of training data. Okay, I will not use 304 are ordinary dimensions present. If I execute dimensions of this data, sorry, yeah, 228 comma 14 features are given there. And if you see the testing data, that I am not using testing data, I will keep it aside to check the model is perfectly working or not. So I'll use minus IND. Minus means except that remaining data you have to take in consideration. That's what as minus IND. Okay, and I'll just print it here. Cat training size. And see the testing size. We have splitted this data into two format, training and testing. We use only training data to build the model. Is yeah, slash n here. So training size is 228 rows and 14 columns. Okay, and testing size is 75 rows and 14 columns are there. Okay, that's what we have done. And if you print this data, print here, you can see this. All of this training data is present in it. Okay, that's what we have created a partition of it. Partition. And if you see the testing data, the test data that you can see, partition that we have created here. Okay, this is the test data that we are having with us. You can see alternate rows are taken. Like you can see 81, 82, 84, 85, 86, 88. Okay. Data from in between that's extracted. 63, then direct 69 is there, 72, 73. Okay. Not sequentially data is extracted. This is what the training and testing data we have separated. So we'll build a model on the training data and we'll check the accuracy on testing data. That simply is required for every algorithm there. Training data, which is on which the model is created, and testing data, which is unknown to the algorithm, that will be used to build the model. And let's see how do we build the model. So for building the model of logistic regression, we have GLM function. So model is equal to GLM. Okay. Now we have to apply the formula. What is the output variable? Target. What is the input variable? Input variable is all. Dot. Just put a dot there. Means all except target, all other. What data you are using? Okay. Okay. And what's the family that you are using? Binomial. Okay. Now using that, the logistic regression model will be created, and let's print the summary of this model. Yes. Logistic regression model will be created. This is your output variable and all other. That's what dot is mentioned. Except target, all other are the input variable. That is what the meaning of it is there. Okay, that's why dot is required. Then data is 20. Only training data which contains 224 entries are taken. Family is binomial. And then I'm printing the summary of it. You can see this. That is summary of all data. Estimated standard error, everything is shown over there. We'll not go in detail, we'll just check the accuracy of this model created. So this is what the summary that we can see. Now what you have to do? I want to find whether the how much model it is accurate. How much model is accurate. So to do this one, again you have to do the predictions. Out of all entries, few 25% entries I have kept aside. Correct. 25% entries I have kept aside. I know their output also, their target is also present. But I want to see that what my algorithm is predicting. What my algorithm is predicting, that I want to check. So to do so, I'll be using the predict function to perform the operation. So let's do the predictions. See, it will be like pred is equal to predict. Function is same. I'll apply the model. Data is equal to training. Testing. Sorry, testing. We apply, and finally, what type of data you want? That is response. Okay, predicted data we will get. And after that, predicted result will be in the form of the probability. Predicted result is in the form of the probability. Remember that. And if I print this predicted result over here, you can see this. The probability will be predicted. Source. The probability of all the data is predicted over there. Some are above 50%, some are below 50%. You can say this is below 50%. This is above 50%. Above, below, in above, something like that. So where the data result is above 50%, it is class 1. Where the data is below 50%, below 50 probability is class 0. Okay. And we have to print the table which will show you what table? Confusion matrix. So let's see, table where we will pass the first rows will contain, for example, actual value. Actual value is equal to your testing target. They are kept aside, and predicted value is equal to the pred, which is predicted from the algorithm here that I will pass over here. Pred. Done. And I'll execute this code now. Now you can see I need to print it. Table is presented here. I'll print this table on the screen. The table is created. Let's execute that and see the table. Actual value and the sorry. Just a minute. It's a predicted result. You know? So should we return like 0.5? It is greater than 0.5. Then only I can consider the result and see the table. See. So how many entries were there in the test data set? You can see this. Total entries were 75, which I have given as input to the model to check how much the model is accurate. Out of this 75, this is actual data from this side, means 26 plus 35 were for class 0. 26 plus 9, that is 35. And 40, 33.7. 40 were of class 1. Correct. So out of it, 0 actual and predicted is also 0, 26 time matching. And actual 1 and predicted is also 1, 33 time matching. Okay. Out of 75. And these are wrong classifications. 7 is wrong, 9 is wrong. 7 means 7 are actually 1 but predicted 0. Okay. And 1 is 9, they are actually 0 but predicted 1, 2. Like this. This is what the confusion matrix we have seen. It means that how accurate is that? Total 75 entries are there. Out of 75, entries matching are 26 plus 33. So 26 plus 33 divided by 75 into 100. 78.66 is the accuracy of this particular model. 78.66. We have kept these entries aside, unknown to the model. Then after that, we have applied it to the model. We have built the model and we have seen the accuracy. How many entries are matching? Yes, whatever number are 26 plus 33 entries are matching. I think 69, 69, not 759 entries are matching out of 75. That's what the accuracy is there for the logistic regression algorithm there. And I can use this model to do the prediction side. But for prediction, I need to apply remaining 13 features as input. 13 feature you have to give as input. After that only it is possible to do the predictions on that. Whether we are having heart disease or not. We are having heart disease or not. That can be predicted for this method. So this is what the common idea of logistic regression method is used for the classification system. Just like the predict is used. Predict is contain 75 entries, but I can a single entry also. That you have the heart disease or not. This is what confusion matrix will show you, and accuracy of the model will be calculated by using this particular formula, which is shown over here. So this is what the logistic regression is the first method present in the classification algorithm of the linear